Hi friends, welcome to my weekly video. Let's get down to some stitchy talk, shall we? Trying out new things. Let me know what do you think of it? Do it sound stupid? I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so after the fiasco of getting scammed and then the excitement of one of the former owners of MCG Textiles contacting me, I kind of didn't know what to make a video about, because those are some pretty extreme, exciting, crazy, dramatic things. So I've kind of been searching my brain. I almost made a video yesterday, but I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. But now I do. I woke up this morning and I figured out what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to do I guess you could call it a designer spotlight. However, it's not just one designer, and I'm sure most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I wanted to talk about Heaven and Earth Designs. Since Thomas Kincaid, MCG Textiles, they closed their doors, someone had let me know in my Facebook group, Thomas Kincaid Cross Stitch Patterns, or is it Disney? I don't know. I'll link it below. I can't even remember my own group, guys. I'm a loser. But anyway, they let me know that Heaven and Earth Designs is now, they have released a few charts of the Thomas Kincaid designs. Now, nothing Disney, nothing licensed, nothing like that. But Thomas Kincaid has some beautiful artwork. And so they released some of the patterns, and that's how I found my way to Heaven and Earth Designs, through my love of the Thomas Kincaid patterns. And so I went on the website, and this was actually a long time ago. I had first heard about this probably back in May or so. And I started looking at the website, and I found the group on Facebook, and I looked at these magnificent pieces of artwork, and I was just blown away. Like, there's really no words to describe how beautiful all of these pieces are. And okay, so my first glance at it was, okay, it's incredibly detailed. Excellent. That's what I love. Hello, have you seen my work, the Thomas Kincaid Disney ones? Awesome. Second thing I noticed, no French knots. Third thing I noticed, huge full coverage pieces. So for me, having those full coverage pieces, there's no back stitching, there's no French knots, and they're incredibly detailed and just absolutely gorgeous. That's like winning the lottery for me. So I was super excited when I first heard about this, and I looked at the website, and at first I looked at it and I was a little confused at first, because I didn't really understand the concept of Heaven and Earth Designs, I won't lie. But the more I was reading posts from the group, I understood that there are multiple designers. Like, for me, cross-stitching for so many years and not being in this blogosphere, that's the word of the day, guys, blogosphere, that, like, knowing that cross-stitch has made it into the internet this way, and that it's massive, it's huge. I had no idea. So to me, it was like, okay, growing up, you had Dimensions kits, Brusilla kits, Janlin, and maybe a few others. And it's just the one designer and everything that they release. So for me to find Heaven and Earth Designs, it was very different. It was a very different concept. And then I looked onto the website, but I couldn't quite find the patterns, and someone said, well, check by artist. And then you see this huge list of artists, and there's a profile picture for all of them. From what I can tell, there's like over 200 artists on Heaven and Earth Designs. There is something for absolutely everyone on this website. It's so inclusive, would be the word I would use. There's of course, I've seen like traditional stuff of farmhouses and all that stuff, but what I love is that I'm starting to see cross-stitch patterns that have these huge, beautiful, ornate dragons and fairies, and you don't see cross-stitch like this. Like, you just don't. You don't see things like this in the cross-stitch world. And so I've browsed around quite a few, and there were a lot of designers to go through. I mean, over 200. That's a lot to go through. Now, I finally figured out my favorite, absolute favorite designer. I pretty much want everything that he has designed, and that's Randall Spangler, and he has these cute little green dragons, and there's a really cute one where he's like dipping, he's got like a teacup, and he's just so stinking cute, and there are so many. And so I finally bought my first Heaven and Earth design, and it's a Randall Spangler, but it's not the dragon one. I actually got one. It was the first pattern I had ever seen, and I had fallen in love with, and I didn't know who made it. I didn't know how to purchase it. It was just one of those ones that I saw it, and it was calling my name, and my heart just was like, yes, that's the one you need. So the one I got it's called Mini Rose Trellis Inn. I'll put a little picture, of course, in the video. This is just such a beautiful Victorian house, and I love the colors, and I love Victorian houses. I absolutely love Victorian houses. That is one thing that's kind of traditional cross-stitch that I've always loved. So I had to get it. It was calling my name. It was the first one I ever saw way back in May. Like, that was so long ago. I just had to get it. So I did it. I purchased it. I printed it off, as you can see. I'm a person that I need the hard copy. I know there are people out there that just download it and they use apps on their iPhone or their tablet or whatever. I don't think I'm that advanced. I'm still really old school. And I like having the hard copy in my hands. So I purchased it, and before I had purchased it, I had posted onto the Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group, okay guys, I'm about to purchase my first one, please throw me your advice. And there was just this overwhelming, wonderful, kind advice. Everybody, you know, the biggest thing I saw was one stitch at a time. Just do it one stitch at a time. I know they can be overwhelming. You're going to rip your stitches out. Don't get overwhelmed. Just pick up the pieces and go back to it. It was so supportive. Oh my gosh, I felt so warm. It felt so warm and welcoming and kind. Thank you to everybody that posted on there. All of you guys, you are all so nice and so kind. But I was like, okay, I'm really excited to do this now, because I've got this huge support group that's going to be out there, and every time I post my progress, they're all going to be watching, and they're going to be there with me for the heartbreaks when I have to rip out stitches, because it happens to everybody. By the way, I've already had to do it twice. But they were small amounts. They weren't huge amounts. It was only like maybe 5 stitches or something. Nothing massive. And you know, there were a lot of great pieces of advice. You know, grid your fabric. Now, I've never gridded my fabric before. That's never been something that I do, because I don't want to do the prep work for it. And I know you can buy fabric that comes pre-gridded, but I was just so excited to start this kit. It was my little treat to myself. And I was like, no, I'm just going to go find some fabric, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to start it. And that was a whole nother learning process. I've never cut my own fabric because I've always done kits. And another great thing that they told me is that there's a file in the group that shows you how to break down the stitch count, and I do 18 count Aida. I don't like linen. I'm going straight for the Aida cloth, because that's what I've worked with for about 24 years, and that's what I really like. So that's what I'm sticking with, and I use the math. Hopefully I cut it to the right size. It's too small to tell at this point. But anyway, so I cut mine. When I did my measurements, I did about, now if any of you have done the Mini Rose Trellis Inn, right? Yeah, let me know. I think I cut mine, it was like, I did 16 by 21. That's about the size that I did. So that's how much I cut. And then I got to use my new gadgets that I've discovered. So I've gotten to use I started with my Q-snap frame, which I've noticed for me is really heavy in my hands. Does anybody else feel that with their Q-snap frame? Sometimes my wrist starts to get a little tired, and I want to switch back to my embroidery hoop because it's light. And then I got a needle minder, and it's a poster of Disneyland. It's so cute! Like one of the original posters of the Disneyland castle. Of course it's going to be Disney. I mean, hello, have you met me? And then I got a grime guard. So I loved all these new little gadgets that I've learned about that I started using. And this is my little setup. So as you can see, now I'm starting from the bottom left corner. I know a lot of people start at the top right corner, but how I cross stitch, because it's technically backwards, I like to go up. and I go from the left to the right. So I'm starting at the bottom left-hand corner. I had to spread out all my pages on my bed and figure out which was the bottom left-hand corner, and I also figured out that with the patterns, everything, of course, is done, you know, 10 by 10. And I noticed, sorry, I don't want the camera to fall down, that, you know, you've got this to show you that that is the overlay from the next page. So I found also, you know, they go down. So it starts 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 30 by 30. So it has all those measurements on it. So I went down to when there was no more left. Like there's no overlying. I'm like, okay, that's the bottom left-hand corner, and that's where I'm going to start. So I got it printed out, all 24 pages. I printed it out. I got my cloth cut. Well, I cut it myself. Hopefully I did it right. Cross your fingers. And then I had to go buy the floss. 90 colors of floss. I have never bought so much floss in my life. And I was excited because I went to Hobby Lobby and it was only 52 cents as opposed to 56 or 54. When you're buying 90 skeins of floss, a couple of cents can make a huge difference. So here's all of my floss. Yes, if you've seen my cross-stitch prep videos, you know I like to hold everything in little cheap Glad Rubbermaid containers, and I put them in baggies, and I put the name or the number of each piece of floss. Now I did notice that there was like this silvery floss. It was like the first symbol on my chart. Let me find it. Yeah, it's number 032, Kenrick number 4. Now I couldn't find that in any of the stores I was at, so I got this DMC one. For all of you Heaven and Earth people that are really experienced, please let me know if this is okay. If not, I mean, I'm not working on it yet. I probably could order it online, I'm sure. I just was really impatient and really wanted to start it. I'm really excited to try this. I will post my progress. I feel like I've gotten a lot done. And oh, the other thing I'm going to be doing with this is I'm starting in a corner. I'm not starting in the middle. Every pattern I've ever done in my life, I've started in the middle, and I'm not starting in the middle. And I'm breaking my cardinal rule. I'm working on 2 projects at the same time. My mom has always told me to only do 1 project at a time, otherwise you get distracted, but I couldn't wait. I was just so excited to start this project. And I've heard so many wonderful things about the company, and Michelle in particular. I've heard that she is just a phenomenal human being, and she's really there to take care of us. I believe she's the owner. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's actually in my Thomas Kincaid Facebook group. I just discovered that, so that's really cool. I think that's really awesome. Thanks for joining. Anyway, so that was just my quick little spotlight on Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm really excited to see more Thomas Kincaid ones released. As far as I know, there's only been, I think, 6. There's the Sweetheart Cottage one that I really want, and of course my mom wants the Christmas one and the Hometown Heroes one. I think there's 3 more that were released, but I don't know their names. So I'm really excited, and I really hope that they do get the Disney kits, and we'll see what happens, because, man, I encourage all of you to go check out Heaven and Earth Designs and check out what pieces people have completed. These are so beautiful, and so much work goes into these. And some of them are very, very big. Like, the biggest one I've ever done was my Thomas Kincaid one, 16 by 18. No, sorry, that's not right. I don't know, but they're not as big as the Heaven and Earth ones. The Heaven and Earth ones are huge. Like this one, oh, it doesn't actually say on here, sorry guys. But the Heaven and Earth, I've seen people stand in front of them before they're actually framed, and they go from like their chin all the way to their ankles. These pieces are massive, which for me is exciting. I get so excited about this. So don't worry, I'm going to be posting all my progress, of course, on my Instagram page, Disney Craft Girl. Now, let's get to my shout out for the week. So my shout out for the week is a fellow friend that's in my Thomas Kincaid group, and she's also working on the same cross-stitch that I'm working on from the Disney Dreams collection kit. She's working on The Little Mermaid as well. I'm so excited. Now this is her work in progress photo. She's not completely finished yet. Now her name is Allie, and I have envy because I'm not even close to that far on mine. Not even close. And now that I have this Heaven and Earth design, it'll probably sit on the back burner for a while. But this is Allie's Instagram name, so it's allie.xstitch. Of course, I'm working on mine. She's going to finish hers way before mine because I got the Heaven and Earth design right over there. Hopefully my Disney cross-stitch kits don't get jealous. Yes, I am talking about my Disney cross-stitch kits as if they are real people. Don't judge me. Anyway, I am so excited to see her finish this. Please go give her Instagram, allie.xstitch. Give that a look, follow her, and if you want to be the shout out on my next week's video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to follow me on Instagram at Disney Craft Girl. Well guys, that's all I have for this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.